Moira over our counterparts being...
Oh my god, I don't care about you! Cater, you already have a sponsor! Why are you putting ads on the video? You're greedy piece of garbage, man. There we go, I just gave him like half a cent in ad revenue.
This video is sponsored by CheapHostUK, more about them at the end of the video. Starting off with Brawl on first point. The worst thing you could do in my opinion is to barrel straight down main. This is because it's very easy to get walled off, and you have no cover if the enemy team are on high ground. You have a few options. You can path through hotel and try and catch their backline off guard, you can go around the statue and force the enemy team to either back up as you have a corner and they don't, or force them to fight you at statue, or you can flip the map by going all the way around point on the high ground. I recommend doing this when trying to clear high ground up against poke or dive comps, which I'll talk about later. With dive on first point, the high grounds are extremely important. On attack, since you'll be going up against Brawl teams mostly, who lack range, your team can rotate as a 6-man team around the high ground on first point and attempt to stage a dive with multiple angles. On defense, here's Temporal providing an example from Overwatch Contenders on how dive can work via the high ground.
Sigma's back here, shooting from here, and then you've either got Zen or Bap back here as well, potentially both threatening. They've got Tracer over here who's going to come in behind, Ball who's going to come in from this side, and Sombra's actually probably down here hanging out near point, ready to either shoot up in this direction, or as this Brawl team pushes forward, ready to shoot up from the side. So this is a nice multi-angle hit that we're looking up at here, and no one's really too punishable because they're mostly on the high ground. It takes a long rotation to get on the back line. Even though this Brawl team has now mostly succeeded in getting on top of this Sigma, who's not going to be able to kite away, he does not have a Lucio, this Brawl team does. Look at how unhealthy this Brawl team is. They've already used their lamp, their Diva is already basically gone, their McCree is already basically gone, their Sombra's already basically gone. Look at how much of a lead they were able to do by setting up their angles properly, by using the high ground and making the long rotation happen here.
With poke on first point, and with poke across the following points, I'll take a slightly different approach in explaining it. Here's a screenshot from Temporal's King's Row video, showing the 3 main lanes on King's Row first point in yellow, blue and pink. With poke, you ideally want to control all 3 lanes to maximize your angles, and if the enemy Brawl comp rush one lane, the other 2 lanes can peel. However, the issue is that in this case, the yellow and blue lanes are quite short sightlined, leaving you with the pink lane. This means that you could have long sightline supports and DPS set up afar, and your Orisa could look to force point, i.e. utilizing the blue lane, whilst in the meantime, your other teammates look to utilize the high ground, i.e. the pink lane. This means that if the Brawl team push the Orisa, the other 5 teammates using the pink lane will be able to peel for the Orisa. On defense, a similar approach applies, with Orisa, Diva or Tracer juggling points. With Brawl on second point, there are 2 main points to note. The first is the hard choke you can hold by alleyway, which up against most teams can be very hard to get through with a Mei. Just make sure that your Diva and Lucio mark any flanks to the right or by the window. When trying to break through this choke, in short, use ultimates, send a Reaper to hard flank and split focus, or you can wall in front of their Mei and walk through. Towards the end of second point, you can also do a rotation bait, as Natter describes here.
I'll give you an example here. Okay, the enemy team is playing over here. You decide you guys want to rotate over here. Now when you're here in this little area, this is what I like to call, it's called a rotation bait. Now, when you're in this decision, when you go here, where do they think you're going?
You're going to go right.
Yes, but where can you actually go?
Stairs, or
you can go here, here, or you can also double back, right? Now, why does this work? Why does this concept work? They can't see you. People are dumb. they can't see you, right? And when they can't see you, they have no idea where people are going. So, and they sort of assume. Right? They assume, hey, they're going this way, then they're probably gonna go over here. That's because that's what most people do.
You can also, specifically up against dive or poke comps, remove the high ground from the enemy team, as Spilo describes here.
You'd have maybe Ryan on high ground, with Kree, maybe Diva, Lucio. Your Mei on cart, maybe. And then your Bap back here. And you kind of you deny the enemy Sombra and Ball and Echo from using high ground to stage on you by holding that high ground with your Lucio, Kree, Diva, whatever. And you kind of see how we're splitting here. I'd have my Ryan start in high ground to shield off early spam and then drop to push cart afterwards. And you kind of see how they'd control the dive angles ahead of time.
With dive on second point, a similar formula from first point still applies, as Temporal shows here.
Ball is circling behind. Tracer is circling to come out on this angle or perhaps deeper. Bap is circling to come up over here. And then Zen. Zen would be in real trouble because this team could just run over Zen. Except trying to run over Zen because this team is going to get their flank timings right is going to be incredibly dangerous. Tracer is going in. Sombra's hack is coming off, so we can tell we didn't get to see Sombra, but Sombra must have come in from this angle. So we have yet another angle to our attack here. And we know Ball is coming in directly from behind here. So this is happening, and they're able to go in and trigger this multi-directional dive. And obviously they reinforced it with the Transcendence, but that's no big deal. Wisp went ahead and used their Shatter, that sort of thing. I just want to show you guys that, hey, even though most people think of King's Row as this very one-dimensional map, this very, hey, two teams are just going to run down this middle lane and brawl into each other, it really doesn't have to be that.
A quick additional note for Brawl teams in this case is to tunnel in enclosed spaces, such as the backline playing in Library in that example. The reason for this is to minimize the amount of angles you are vulnerable to by surrounding yourself with cover. With Poke on second point, again, here are the lanes. Likewise to first point, the yellow and blue lanes are quite short sightlined. The best case scenario for Poke is to have your Orisa force point pressure and have the majority of your team play around the pink lane for the majority of the time. If you maintain high ground, it's quite likely you'll hold on second point or push it through all the way. With Brawl on third point, if there's one thing you take away from this video, it's this. When attacking past this corner in a Brawl versus Brawl mirror, instead of rushing down main, play wide. This is because you remove the corner that the enemy team has, whilst your team still has cover to play around. This is exactly the same case as pathing around the statue on first point attack. On a more broader level, you need to also clear high ground, as Spilo explains here.
This part of the map is really important, because you'll see Sombras and Zaryas and Ana sitting here, so this part of the map needs to be cleared. This high ground needs to be cleared. We need to double check behind you to make sure Sombra's not lurking back there. And then obviously this part as well. So it's like you clear one space, you move on. You clear behind you, you move on. You clear here, you move on. You clear this high ground, you move on. You clear this, you move on. You clear this, you move on. You clear this, you move on. And then hopefully by the time you've cleared 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different locations, you've capped point. You're not even thinking about winning the fight. You're literally thinking, we're gonna clear here, clear here, clear here. Uh-oh, somebody's fighting us here. We're gonna use ultimates to fight. We win it. Okay, great. Move on to the next one. It's literally just a checklist. It's a grocery store checklist. And if you skip and try and go, all right, we're going to clear this high ground, but you haven't cleared behind you, and you haven't cleared this high ground, and you haven't cleared this here, then you're going to have to start all over again. Paris walks into a concave from 1, 2, 3, 4 different directions. And when they could have literally removed both of these angles and killed these guys if they had played it properly.
The higher the rank you are, the less likely you'll get away with being sloppy when clearing your high grounds. The last option, which I haven't gone into too much so far, is tunneling underneath high ground or in enclosed spaces, whilst you have a tank force point. Here are the areas where your backline can play, whilst your Ryan or D.Va can force point. With dive on third point, staging from high ground is a key fundamental to have multiple angles set up with your dive. Combined with longer sightlines, this is why you'll see Ball, Tracer, Echo dive comps be played quite commonly on this last point of King's Row. With Poke on third point, here are the 3 main lanes, and for the first time, all of them seem viable due to the longer sightlines that third point provides, as Spilo describes here.
What do you guys think about this part of the map? Why do I think that Boston should not swap here? High ground, easy glat for defenders, exactly. Echo, Sombra, Ball, they're just 20% more effective here. Third is rough for Ryan, yeah. High ground, they have power ultimates. It's very open, Mayweather's also not effective. Exactly, you guys are all nailing it. And like Ball can stage from high ground. He doesn't even need to use his grapple to get in. He can slam, bubble, roll out. Echo can spam you from behind cover and get packed by her Brig. Ana and Brig can play like a million miles away in these long sightlines. Sombra has a lot of different angles to attack from. Spoiler, Boston's gonna hold this. It makes sense. Like Paris is going to have a hard time. They're not going to just be able to cheese and run it down because Ana and Brig are going to be a million miles away. And as they do that, they are going to get spammed from better and more powerful high grounds than we saw earlier.
The yellow lane can be utilized by Brig, Zen, Zarya, and less mobile heroes in Poke or Poke Dive comps, and your more mobile heroes such as Ashe, Mercy, Echo, or Wrecking Ball can control the high ground. If you're running Orisa, again should be looking to force point eventually, and due to our high sustain and open sightlines, your DPS should have a field day if the enemy team tunnels on Orisa. On attack, things may be slightly harder, hence I suggest a D.Va instead of a Sigma unless you have Flux to help aid with high ground control. Before I end off the video, I'd like to talk about this video's sponsor, CheapHostUK. Whether you're a business or an individual, CheapHostUK is a safe, reliable, and affordable web hosting and domain providing service. The prices are as cheap as 58 pence a month, or if you're wanting even more access and privileges, there's the premium package, which is £1.41 a month, which is the equivalent of $16.99 a year and comes with a free .co.uk domain. There's also a 30-day money-back guarantee, so you really can't go wrong. To get an even sweeter and cheaper deal, use discount code KAJER for 10% off your first order, which covers all hosting and domain services to get you started. The link for CheapHostUK will be in the description. And before I end off, if this video helped to raise your IQ, be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and share it with your friends to also raise theirs. I hope you guys are looking forward to my map tier list. Until next time.